Hello there. Hope you are well. Welcome to this channel. Today we will see about the movie named Deep Blue Sea. I have covered the plot as far as my understanding. Please watch the movie and have fun. Without further ado, let's get into the video. The movie starts with a group of teens hanging out on a boat in the middle of the sea. Suddenly, they are attacked by an unknown creature, causing them to fall into the water. As the shark approaches, Wrangler Carter Blake shoots an arrow into it and manages to capture it, saving the teens. However, this incident causes concern for the company funding the research, who threaten to withdraw their support. Susan, a scientist working on the project, explains that the research involves testing on sharks to find a cure for Alzheimer's disease by reactivating brain cells. She requests 2 more days to prove the viability of the research. Russell Franklin, an executive from the company, accompanies Susan to investigate the research facility to ensure their investment is secure. The facility is located in a former World War II submarine port that has been remodeled for research purposes. Upon arrival, they are greeted by Janice, who shows them around the facility. Meanwhile, Carter swims in the pool with a shark to remove metal stuck in its mouth, which amazes Russell but doesn't sit well with the others who view him as an outsider there to scrutinize their work. Brenda informs the crew that they will be leaving for a holiday but warns them that the weather is patchy around 30 miles from their location. Carter checks with Skoggs, the engineer in charge, and discovers that he had left the shark pens open, which allowed them to escape. It takes 2 shots to slow them down, and Carter suspects that they may be able to jump over the fences if they are closed. Janice gives Russell a tour of Atlantica, the research facility, while Susan checks data on the test samples with Dr. Jim in the lab. Russell tries to play cat and mouse with Carter to check if his prison background poses a threat to the facility. Meanwhile, the cook, Sherman Preacher Dudley, prepares meals for the crew in the kitchen. Skoggs releases a tiger shark into the pen, and Carter dives into the water to observe. The Generation 1 and Generation 2 sharks, which are test subjects in the facility, violently attack and kill the tiger shark. Susan is surprised on her birthday with a fun party on the surface deck. Janice tells Russell about the shark's brains, which don't age, and how hormonal enhancements have made their brains 5 times larger. Carter catches up with Susan for a beer and informs her that the Gen sharks are attacking in packs, like dogs on other sharks. Susan threatens to reveal Carter's prison story if he informs Russell. Skoggs raises the fence as Carter requested, and Brenda monitors the weather, informing the crew of the tropical storm approaching the Aquatica research facility. Brenda, from the tower, warns that the weather is worsening and there is no visibility on the shark pens. Jim affirms that they also have a similar situation below the water's surface and warns Carter about it. Carter enters the water to bring in the test sharks for injecting and testing. While Carter is passing through the fenced way, both the test sharks attack him through the fence at the same time. Susan is surprised that the sharks were able to synchronize their attacks and asks Jim when they were able to do that. Others are also surprised that those sharks were able to swim backward and recognize the gun from Carter, which is an impossible behavior of sharks. While checking the perimeter of the fence, Jim notices that the sharks were biting off the camera and power to the fence. When they try to reach Carter, who is not responding, Carter somehow tricks the shark and drugs it to bring it to the boarding platform. Susan injects and gets the serum from the shark and tests it with the Alzheimer's patient's protein complex to observe if the test improves the condition. The test results are promising, and the crew is thrilled with the results. While Jim is curious and goes near the shark, it suddenly bites his hand off. Carter tries to shoot the shark and kill her, but Susan opens the latch and lets it go free. They call for emergency medical help from shore to take care of Jim, who lost his hand. Somehow, they call for a chopper to the facility and transport Jim outside. While trying to transport Jim from the facility, the heavy storm and weight of the carrier pull it away and get it stuck while pulling up to the chopper. The puller malfunctions, leaving Jim with the carrier to fall into the water. Suddenly, the string is being pulled towards the tower by the giant sharks, and the chopper along with the pilot and Brenda gets killed in the process, with a blast on the surface of the facility. It also causes massive damage to all the surface area and brings down the structure. When everyone gets back from the blast effect, Carter tries to contact and check on Brenda. Russell notices that the stretcher carrying Jim is being pushed forcefully to the watch mirror in the lab by a large shark, where everyone from the crew was standing. The force of the impact breaks the glass, and water from the sea enters into the pressurized lab. Carter plans a way outside, since the top side is already flooded and the door cannot be opened. The Dudley also gets stuck on the bottom floor of the kitchen where the water is completely flooded. Before the whole level gets flooded, the group somehow manages to reach the maintenance doorway and pass it. Russell asks Carter if the door was being hit by sharks, and if they can do that purposefully. When he forces Susan to tell the truth, she reveals that she and Jim have violated the Harvard Compact by performing the genetic modification test to increase the brain of the sharks to harvest the protein, but as a side effect, they became smarter. Before the sharks get way smarter, Carter plans to get out of the facility to safety and move forward. Their plan to reach the submersible and leave through the sea floor is thwarted when they discover that the submersible is damaged and inoperable. Meanwhile, the Dudley is taunted by sharks in the hallway and attempts to escape, but the bird he has with him is devoured by the sharks that are trying to eat him. He finds himself in the cooking chamber, which unfortunately has a gas line that has been opened. After a thrilling escape, he ignites the gas-filled chamber, causing an explosion that kills the shark attacking him. Carter and the crew at the submersible are hesitant to swim through the wet lab and out to sea, fearing shark attacks. Skoggs, who is afraid of the sharks, suggests climbing the maintenance ladder to the top, but is unsure of the ladder's condition. If the maintenance hatch is opened, the wet lab will destabilize due to pressure drop, causing confusion among the crew. Russell intervenes, sharing his experience with an avalanche accident he had during a trip to the Alps where he and his group fought each other before losing hope. He gives a speech about the need for the group to remain unified, but suddenly, one of the sharks from the wet pool attacks and devours Russell in front of the crew. Carter encourages Skoggs and they attempt to leave through the maintenance door again. Once opened, the pressure destabilizes, and as they climb to the top, they hear the door being hit by a shark. Carter opens the level 2 door to buy some time, ensuring that if the water level rises, it will flow through the level 2 floor. While the structure gets more water, due to the tremors, the ladder gets loosened and Janice falls into the pool of water with the shark. Carter tries to save her, but she gets killed and eaten by the shark. Skoggs was unable to reach the door above, but they hear a noise banging the door and think that those levels were also flooded already. But the Dudley comes out, and they are glad to see another person alive. He helps them to get through the door, but they are still trapped on that level. Carter finds a way to use the emergency storm drain pipeline. They decide to reach the control panel to activate the drain motors to flush the flooded water. Susan apologizes to Carter when she finds him covering his hemorrhaged wound so that sharks don't find him in the water. Susan tries to secretly get the research data in the meantime when Carter and Skoggs leave to find the control room. While diving down the submerged control room, Carter gets panicked by seeing a dead body in the water. Carter and Skoggs go into the water together to remove the panel blocking the control panel and start the drain motors. They successfully start the motor, but suddenly out of nowhere, a giant shark gets from behind Skoggs and eats him. He then moves to the other door across the control room and escapes into it. Susan moves to the research floor, which is already flooded with water. She steps carefully to watch for the sharks and tries to collect the serum and data from the lab. Susan gets attacked by a shark in the room where the disc fell into the water. To escape from the room, she plans to kill it by electrocuting it. She insulates herself with a wooden table and stands over it while electrocuting the shark. The giant shark gets completely destroyed by the electric current and dies in vain. Similarly, the data on the drive is also destroyed in the process. Carter finds her but feels sorry that they lost Skoggs. Once they move into the storm drain room, Carter tells them to reach the top as soon as possible, while he sets up a distraction for the sharks to buy some time. While swimming up, a shark attacks the Dudley and grabs him across the shark pen. The Dudley somehow manages to escape by stabbing the shark's eyes with the crucifix he had with him. Once they reach safety, Susan attends to the Dudley's wounds. Carter notices something is not right. Since the facility is being flooded and brought down for their escape, the sharks want the same thing to happen so that they can get through the fence on the top, as the fence is not titanium-like on the bottom. Susan realizes the danger and decides to kill the shark before it escapes into the deep sea. Carter informs her to keep the wire ready so that the arrow with the detonator filled can be shot into the shark, and she can blow it up. Carter is not able to get a shot since the fence is far away, so Susan decides to bait the shark by wounding herself and jumping into the water. The shark gets distracted by her blood and goes after her. Before she can escape from the water, and despite Carter's efforts, the shark shreds her into pieces. As Carter was also in the water, the shark gets to him now, but he manages to grab hold of the shark's fin and ride for the time being. He calls Dudley to shoot the harpoon connected to the arrow, which accidentally goes through Carter's thigh as well. As the shark breaks through the fence this time, Carter orders Preacher to connect the trailing wire to a boat's battery, sending an electric current through the wire and to the explosive charge in the harpoon, blasting the shark into pieces. Dudley thinks that he has lost Carter also in the blast, but Carter manages in the nick of time to escape from the harpooned arrow. Finally, they stay on the ridge of the sinking facility in water, where they see a maintenance boat en route at the end. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe for more. Your support means a lot and helps us continue creating content. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.